Right. When we last left our band of intrepid adventurers, they had just finished tangling with Catinella, the dryad of this tree, who seems to be sick in some way and mad with rage. Though Angela has been charmed by the dryad's powers and now views her as a friend, her attempts to broker peace with her party have been somewhat lacking. But there are other things she has been able to help with as well. The desire to help her friend has twined well with the party's investigations, and it is with the desire to bring this hostility to an end and find out what is poisoning the dryad that the group continues forward. Though Tobias wouldn't mind building a Catinella-shaped bonfire and being done with it. Speaking of which, whoosh.
Inside of the chest, you find an assortment of seed packets.
So Tobias was a farmer. Do these seeds look like anything he would recognize?
Yes, many of these seeds you recognize. Lots of different wind-borne species, which would be different kinds of flowers, several different sets of fungal spores. A lot of this seems to have been chosen for how pleasing it is to look at, rather than for any kind of farm yield. However, there is a large group of the spores that have been removed.
Tobias will hold that box up to the party and explain, I think these might be the spores that we saw on that horrid woman.
A quick look around at the notes that are scattered on the floor, you find that all of the notes have been taken in Sylvan. You are able to find that a large number of these notes are a specific research of fungicide. It was supposed to cure what you believe is some kind of blight, apparently, that Felosinney was researching. She seemed to have cut many corners, most likely in desperation, as the notes kind of line out, but she does mention that all of the necessary reagents have been gathered and distilled and are ready to work their magic, except for one. The missing ingredient is a mycelial thread of a certain wind-borne species. And she says, quote, "I can only hope my fungicultural efforts at the crown germinate in time."
Angie will get super excited. Yes, this is it. This is what can help the dryad. Could it be the spores outside? Well, let's find an empty glass container and try to catch some.
Thankfully, Mr. Bun Bun, also known as the Wizard, knows that in order to actually gather any amount of use to make these reagents work, you would need not the spores that are drifting, which are more like seeds, but you would need the actual mushrooms that are providing the spores. So you would need to climb to the crown of the tree to retrieve them.
She'll turn to the group, give them a very stern look, with her arms crossed, and giving them a comical pout. I can't believe you guys. Promise me you'll behave. And then she'll peek outside to check where the spores are falling.
I think I should give you some resistance to help you collect those caps from on top.
No, you're coming with me. I can't trust you all by yourselves here. You are very unreasonable. Come on, we know exactly what we need. We can do this. So to get to the top of the tree, is the staircase in the middle? Does that still go higher?
Nope, you're gonna have to free climb.
Oh, brilliant.
Are you sure you don't want some guidance?
Okay, in that case, you guys just stay down here then. I don't want anybody getting hurt.
Guidance, I just need to touch you.
Well, okay, fine. Just promise me you'll behave while I'm out there. Now, before attempting to scale the tree, Angie will turn back to look at the group, pointing with 2 fingers at her eyes, pointing at them. You behave.
Having sufficiently warned her companions and hoping they would do the right thing should her friend reappear, Angela takes a deep breath and begins to climb. Many years of both training and climbing rigging had worked to hone her muscles, and the trunk was full of large knots and craggy bark, so the warrior discovered that it was quite easy to scale once she got the hang of it, and before long, she reached the canopy. Hoisting herself above the highest branches, she finds that it is dotted with clusters of white-capped mushrooms, which bear blue gills. It is quite a simple act to collect a few handfuls and dump them in her bag before climbing back down to her party. Meanwhile, Velatha has been looking through the druid's notes. To create the remedy, they would need a blueprint from the druid's room, a vial of eyedrops she'd been holding onto for a group of adventurers from Waterdeep, and of course, the mushrooms themselves. Satisfied with the results of her investigation, she reveals this to the party, and just as she is winding down to a close in her explanation, Angela touches down on the wooden platforms once again with a thud, having heard most of the exchange.
I think I saw a room over on the east side. That could be the room where we need to go to.
Yeah, the path is collapsed, though, so we'll have to go around.
This set of platforms is not fallen completely to the ground. They are caught in a bunch of branches. It's about 30 feet down. You could climb down to it and climb across.
How secure is it?
It's sitting on a bunch of branches.
Alright, well I have my parashield. So I'll attempt this. If it's safe, then you guys follow me.
You are climbing up the other side when a set of the vines that you are using gives way and drops you about 5 feet, at which point you lose your grip and are tossed off of the side of the trellis.
Oh god.
Fall backwards, wheeling your arms, and then slowly drift down to the platform beneath you and land gently.
Well, I guess the shield works. I like it.
The unstable platform creaks and tilts as they cross, nearly tossing half the party from the skybound structure. But with a combination of Angela's skybow shield and some quick rope work, the group manages to get their quartet across the precarious platform, relatively unharmed, though Bethaniel's backside might sport a bruise the following morning. After dusting themselves off, the party cautiously approaches the next chamber, unsure of what it might have in store. Though the door is locked, Angela yet again makes quick work of the obstacle, while her allies watch her back, and soon enough the aged door creaks open before them. The pungent scent of mold wafts out of the half-blackened room's interior. Inside, they can see that massive patches of fungus have grown over large portions of the wall and ceiling. From the hearth in the back of the room, a bloom of arcane flames gives a gentle light but no heat, and a pair of mold-eaten beds sit to the side. A large stack of decaying journals are scattered on the floor, but only one seems even remotely intact, as well as a set of blueprints folded up and nestled between the sheafs of paper. As Tobias stoops to lift the journal up, a huge cloud of spores and dust erupts from the area, disturbed from their resting state. Bethaniel and Angela wave the dust before their faces away, coughing the rest clear. Velatha and Tobias, however, are not so fortunate. One wheezes, a desperate sound, as the other begins to choke, their throats suddenly being filled with fungal overgrowth that is blooming more rapidly by the second.
Okay, Bethaniel needs to go over these notes and quickly find that recipe or whatever we needed to finish off.
I guess someone might need first aid soon. What do I do? What do I do to help?
I need to inspect Velatha first, just in case the language we don't understand yet. Velatha should be able to.
You grab a hold of Velatha, and you are able to determine that something has grown in her throat to block off her airway. And looking into it, you can actually see strands of mushroom tendrils reaching out of the back of her throat and across her tongue as it tries to continue to spread. So as Bethaniel is inspecting Velatha, already having held her and is looking over her trying to figure out what is going on, Tobias reaches past Bethaniel and reaches into Velatha's mouth and grabs the growth by the roots, and in a swift and excruciatingly painful motion, which floods Velatha's mouth with the taste of copper, pulls the growth free, allowing Velatha to gasp a breath of air.
Velatha is going to gasp for air and fall to her knees, coughing out dust and whatever this muck is, and, spittle and crap. And she's going to be looking at Tobias with worried eyes and quickly turn to Angela and be like, "Take it out! Pull it out of his mouth!"
Yeah, well, Angie saw that procedure. She knows exactly what to do. So she'll kneel by Tobias and open his mouth, grab the thing, and brutally just yank it out as quickly as possible.
You are able to hold his mouth open, and you pull with all your might and extract the roots from a choking and gurgling bunny rabbit.
Oof.
And after the large chunk of spore roots come out, he gasps a deep breath and will stabilize.
Tobias kind of comes to and coughs weakly. Pixies. Horrid little things.
Now that you have averted the disaster, you are able to peruse through the journal, and it details the steps for the mixture along with the blueprint. Has a final entry that sounds highly despair-filled, finishing with, "I can only pray that I can finish the fungicide in time and save Catinella from the terrible fate and insanity that is afflicting her.
Uh-huh.
This was all my fault. I should have thought better."
Alright, we're almost there. We can do this.
Alright.
Oh,
You pop open the door, and immediately blasted by the rotting stench. Bethenio, your passive perception is high enough that you can actually tell just on entering that the scent is actually coming from underneath the bearskin rug.
Yeah, I go over and just pull that bearskin off.
You shuffle one of the tables over, and you pull the bearskin rug up, and you have found Felosinney.
Oh, God.
It seems that her fungicide was not able to be crafted in time, obviously, and someone has used an assortment of thorns and branches to flay the druid's flesh, and then crafted hempen strands and stitched her body to the bottom of the rug. From the marks that are on the floor beneath the rug, it seems that despite the flaying, Felosinney was alive when she was left here.
It's terrible. Who could have done that?
I would take a wager that it was our dryad friend who did this.
There's no way she couldn't have.
She's not well.
She needs to be put down.
No, that's just wrong.
Well, then you don't have to participate, but I will be.
As the
Yes.
Group of you are arguing over the flayed corpse of the druid, the window to the northeast of the room explodes inward, throwing bits of glass and wood everywhere as an enormous horned owl blasts through the wall and screeches.
Oh, wow.
Okay, she is gonna cast Speak with Animals again. She's gonna attempt to calm the animal down, I guess, through animal handling and speaking to it. Yeah, she's gonna do her best to try and calm it down using words of, well, calmness, I guess.
So as you are trying to soothe the animal, it seems nigh inconsolable. But that is not because it is crazed or hell-bent on killing you. In fact, it seems grief-stricken. Now that you can understand it, the screeches coming from the creature and the movements of its wings and bobbing of its head actually less indicative of aggression and more of protection. And it screams to you to get away from its beloved master's body.
Valata is going to nod her head and just tell it, we will. And she's going to say to the others, it wants us to get away from the body, so we should probably do that now.
Wow.
The grief-stricken animal seems to believe at first that you are more hunters come to loot her master's home. But when you say that you are there to help, the animal seems to be near weeping and asks if you can help, if you can heal, and will move over to its master. We will end the combat initiative, and it will perch next to her and ask if you can heal the druid.
It's too late. There's not much we can do other than at least we can try and undo the defiling that has been done to the body and put her to rest.
Valata sees how grief-stricken this owl is, and she's never had to deliver news like this before. She would try to place a hand on the owl if it allows her, in a kind of consoling manner, and she would kind of tearfully explain what happened.
Despite never having delivered this news before, a amount of sincerity and sadness seems to assist you in expressing your grief to the creature. Initially, the giant owl refuses to believe that Felosinney is dead, having apparently convinced itself that she is just grievously wounded and that the dryad put her here to sleep because of a disagreement. But after a few moments of explaining, and probably no small amount of tears, Whisper, as it introduces itself, will accept that her master has passed and accept that it would be better to have her be buried rather than to leave her like this.
She would ask it its name.
Whisper is Felosinney's animal companion and is a awakened giant owl.
And she will bow politely.
The owl will, in exchange, regale you with a disturbing tale that you are able to make more sense of than it can. He tells you about the disagreement between the pair, which seems to have started because Felosinney, after finishing the grand staircase, noticed that there was something wrong with Catinella. Whisper thought that they were just arguing, as the couple, as they were married, had similar spats before, but Catinella seemed inconsolable and spent more time talking to the trees than she did to her wife. Unfortunately, Felosinney discovered the rot too late, and Whisper believed that her mistress was trying to craft some kind of gift in order to help her forgive her for whatever trespass had been done, because Whisper doesn't really understand the way that humans deal with social emotions. In fact, it's easy for you to tell now that Felosinney was trying to come up with a cure to fight the blight, and she was not able to succeed in time. However, on Felosinney's body, wrapped in a small wisp of paper, is a package for Zacharias's companions, which contains a single vial of the eyedrops. It contains the note, "I was unable to craft more than just 2 vials. I will make more, but I must focus on my wife first. I hope you understand. You have 1 shot at this."
Oh, gosh.
Valata is going to tell Whisper about the 1 shot they have and that they might not be able to save the dryad.
Whisper will respond, he doesn't understand why Felosinney's mate would wish to hurt her like this, but will trust that as you were Felosinney's friends, and you are the first creature here that hasn't tried to eat Whisper, that you will make whatever the right decision is for your people.
Should give the body a funeral rite of some kind. It's not like we're in any rush to save her now.
In the meantime, does anyone want to try to go and cure that dryad?
So you have all of the components to cure the dryad. However, you have 1 vial of the eyedrops, and that is going to be consumed by using it to cure the dryad.
And we needed that for the other quest.
So if you choose to cure the dryad, you will not be able to find the Thunder Beast tribe and their mount.
I think we need to put the dryad down. And Tobias would say as much, that he cannot imagine
We can't!
condemning a mate to live with the knowledge that they had murdered their own beloved was a cruelty that not even this adventuring party had witnessed yet.
But she's been made to do that.
And there is no cure.
And this is where we leave our daring party. Is Angela right to believe that they can use this alchemical tincture to heal Catinella, or perhaps the party will listen to the wisdom of their wizard and spare her the knowledge that she slayed her beloved in a fit of sickness-induced rage? This adventure has been challenging to them not only on a physical level, but now also on an emotional and moral one as well. Who knows what they'll choose? Well, I do, and I promise I'm going to share that with you as soon as I can. Before that, though, I must bid you adieu, but not before I tell you about the real-life heroes we worship, starting with those in the power tier. David, Doodle Poodle, Jay Jones, John the Wicked, and William Smith. In the planar tier, we have CJ, Darth Cavalier, Gordy Danke, Ice Dragon, Jesse Labrie, Joshua Williams, PPNTT807, and Sparkle Lord the Fabulous. In the adventurer tier, we have All Is Fiction, Bastion Falconwrath, Dragon Tempest, Ice Commander, John R300, Justin, Katie, Mystics, Rosilla Streaming Network, Shadow Menser, Sneaky GI, Sue Crash, and V. In the Questgiver tier, we have Enon44, Bird or the Cage, Emanon, Kate, Kyla, Night Archer, ODST Hero, Robert Mischief, Rio1990, Sephiroth Kurosame, and Slathar Silcom. In the Townsfolk tier, we have Adrian, Blizzard Hawk, Biz Adrian, Dylan Taylor, Doodle Poodle again, Enrique, Ginseng 3, Matus, Okada, Scott Stedman, Sergeant Humpty, Shugenja, and Tom Brazeau. A special mention, as always, to Scion of Magnus and the Sammy Wolf. As always, we can't forget our production team, Doodle Poodle, Nala Fontaine, Shadow Wolf, Scorpius187, MC_Cheshire, Thriving Inferno, and the Forever DM. Me. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I will see you in the next one. Good night, all.